All right, folks, it is time for the review of episode 1 of season 4 of The Witcher. So, Chris and I have been following this series since it started. I've done reviews of all the episodes on this channel since it kicked off, and this season is a little bit different for obvious reasons. I have already sort of talked about this from the perspective of Chris in the video that I published last night. So before I dive into the review, let me just briefly touch on that. If you haven't watched that episode yet, or that video, I'll link it down below. But essentially, we watch the show obviously in English, but we watch it with Spanish subtitles because Chris likes to have subtitles on to help her with certain words that are weird English words that she might not understand since English is not her first language. So she spends a lot of her time reading subtitles. And we were about halfway through the first episode when she stopped and said, I'm not really seeing anything different between this season and the last season. I don't really understand what the big deal is because it's the same wig, the same outfit, the same swords, the same writers, the same everything. It doesn't really look or feel that different to me. And I was like, I loved that perspective because it strips out and takes away all of the rage that so many people have over the changing of the guard with the main cast. Obviously, moving on from Henry Cavill to Liam Hemsworth, and we talked about in that episode, that video, we talked about like this Spartacus changed actors midway through when the lead actor died, and it went on to have several successful seasons after that. Babylon 5 changed the main actor who was the captain of the space station after season 1, and it went on to have multiple seasons of critically acclaimed and award-winning television after that. It is not unheard of for a lead actor to change midway through a show, and it's not that big of a deal if you are someone who just enjoys the show and you're along for the ride. We are those people. Neither one of us has read the books. Neither one of us have any baggage coming into this. I have played the Witcher 3 video game a couple of times, loved it. She watched me play the Witcher video game and liked watching me play it. So that was her initial attraction to this was because she was like, hey, isn't that based on the video game you saw? And of course, we both liked Henry Cavill and we see most of his projects. But Liam is a great enough actor in his own right. And to be honest with you, I haven't really noticed a difference moving into episode 1 of season 4 of The Witcher. We pick up with, once again, all three of these main characters are in completely different places. He is off on his own with um, Dandelion and yes, Gear, and company, off doing their own thing, trying to get back to find her because he's having dreams that feature her in there, and in those dreams he sees death accompanying her as she's dancing, and Yennefer is off dealing with her own issues. Her and Triss and some other mages are under siege essentially, and then, of course, Siri herself has joined up with a band of, I guess they're like, I don't want to say they're cutthroats, but definitely not. They don't appear to be good people. They're definitely thieves and everything else. So, um, essentially, uh, she is off with this group called the Rats, and they're robbing taverns, and she's sort of finding herself and dealing with this struggle of this internal letting go of her power and trying to find her own destiny, while Geralt is trying to find his way back to her because everything, if you remember at the end of the last season, there was the explosion at the tower and everything went tits up essentially, and she started calling herself Falca. Ciri did. Um, so one of the big things is that obviously Vilgefortz is not dead, and Yennefer and he are at odds. He appears to be he has an army and he has set people against her, and she's going to build her own army to go up against him. We'll see how that goes. Geralt, Jaskier, and Milva end up saving Cahir from some Nilfgaardian soldiers along the way, but leave him behind. Geralt tells him not to follow, but he does follow. They also meet Zoltan, the Dwarven Smith, along the way, and the party is growing as they move along the path here. There's also a very slight subplot here with Philippa being forced to flee as Dijkstra basically threatens to reveal to Radovid that she murdered his brother. So there's plots within plots. There's a lot of going on here, and I think one of the struggles coming back to this show, having not watched the previous season since the last time it was on, is trying to pick up those loose threads and be like, who are these people again? Who are they mentioning? Oh, that's right. This person was this person was that. Gotcha. Um, Obviously, this is the first episode. I have tried to avoid spoilers as best I can, but it's kind of hard when my day job is social media, and I cannot wait to get to the point because there is a point where I know Shalta shows up as a hunter of witchers, and I've loved him since District 9, and I can't wait to see him. I also know Lawrence Fishburne is in this season. We've got new characters that we're going to be meeting. I can't wait to see the rest of this. Like I said, I'm coming into this with no baggage. Chris and I are watching this sort of detached. We're kind of looking at this as just another version of The Witcher that's separate from the Henry Cavill version because that's what it is, and we're enjoying it for what it is. Because like my wife said, at the end of the day, it's the same wig, the same clothes. It's just an actor in there, and if you're like her watching the subtitles, it's really hard to even notice the difference in the first place because it's just the same characters on an adventure, and that's how we're treating it. So I look forward to continuing to watch the rest of the season. We will be reviewing the episodes here on YouTube, of course, as always. If you liked what you saw here today, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update, and I'll see everybody in the next one. Until then, stay safe and happy viewing.